Right, so we're going to kneel down on the floor and stretch the wrist first. So just take your hands in front of the knees, lock your elbows out, keep your core tight, and then just start to move forwards and back. Driving the palm of your hand into the floor as much as possible and spread your fingers apart. So you're aiming for around 10 reps, just going forward and back. Feel any tightness on one particular side, you can kind of lean into the side which is tightest. Right, after 10 of those, you're going to go to the back of your hand. If you're really tight, you may just need to go from here and straighten your arms, so locking out the elbows. If that's okay and you can lock your arms out, then you're going to sit back like this onto the feet 10 times. And after 10, we're going to turn our hands back around, fingers pointing towards the knees, lock the arms out, and again just sit back, trying to keep the palm of the hand flat to the mat. Then after that, we take our hands forwards, but on the back of the hands, go a little bit wider than before, leaning your weight forwards. Then from here, we bend the elbows and then lock them out, emphasizing the stretch on the back of the wrist here. So 10 reps, and then we move on to timed stretches. So you're going to set your timer for 30 seconds on and 5 seconds to change, or 5 seconds off. Right, so set the timer away. We're going to start with a seal stretch. Drop down, drive the hips to the floor, take a deep breath in, breathe out and push up, driving the hips down, open it up, your upper back, and then just look towards the ceiling or straight ahead. Focus on your deep breathing, 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out. Right, then the next one, we just shift our hips back, take our hands a little bit wider and further forward, sinking into a cat stretch. So your hips should be just over the knees, feet wide, about shoulder width apart. You should feel your lats all the way down here, opening up. Just try to spread your shoulder blades as wide as possible towards your armpits. After that, we move to stretch the chest. So we take our hands behind us, little fingers together, and then from here, we just shimmy forwards as far as possible. Squeeze your shoulder blades back, try and stick your chest out, and just look either straight ahead or up at the ceiling. Just keep going forwards more and more to really open up your chest, your biceps, your shoulders, and your forearms. If your hands slide apart, don't worry too much as long as they stay shoulder width apart. So we're going to take our feet about twice as wide as shoulder width apart, and then we're going to just move our knees from left to right, open up the hips, keeping the chest out, and trying to keep the little fingers the same distance apart throughout. And then the next one from here, we're going to a butterfly stretch. So just bring your feet together, as close to your groin as possible, hold your toes, and drive the knees out wide. Try and keep your torso nice and upright and stick your chest out, locking the shoulders down. Breathe deep into your diaphragm, so you think about expanding through your belly button. And keep driving the side of your thighs to the floor. And after that, we take our legs out as wide as possible. If you're doing this at home, if you're at the side of a settee, it's quite good to hold the bottom of the settee and then you can push your feet out a little bit wider. You can also kind of push your legs out using your hands. Just hold that for 30 seconds, trying to keep as upright as possible or lean forwards as far as you can, moving from your hips. Then from here we reach towards the left foot and lean over to the side. And make sure it is leaning to the side, so often people can collapse forwards. That's something you want to avoid. And try and tense your thighs as much as possible throughout. So you're reaching over as much as possible with your right hand, trying to pull yourself down and forwards with the left. And then we just switch sides, so grabbing the right foot and then leaning over to the right, reaching to the right with the left hand as well. And trying to stick your chest out as much as possible. Then bring your feet together, keeping them straight. You're going to point your toes up to the ceiling and then just lean forwards, breathing out as much as possible and just pull yourself increasingly deeper into the stretch. If your hamstrings are really tight and you're up here, just hold your shins or your ankles and just keep trying to lean forwards as best you can. And then the next one, just shuffle forwards on your mat, hands go flat to the floor, and just take your legs behind you like this. You can keep them straight. If you've got more flexibility, bring your knees towards your shoulders and as close to the floor as possible. Focus on big deep breaths, breathing into your tummy. Then roll out of that into a shoulder bridge. So we just bring our feet in, lift our hips up in the air and squeeze our shoulders back into the floor. Clench your bum and open up the front of the thighs, your hip flexors, pushing your rib cage up to the ceiling. Then from there we turn into downward dog. So driving your heels down to the floor, with your arms push away from the floor and spread your shoulder blades wide. Keep pushing the heels down. And keep pushing away from the floor with your arms. Right, from here, swing your left foot forwards to the right hand, and then just take the right leg back as far as possible, turning the hips so they're parallel to your front leg. And then just try and take your torso as upright as possible. From here, swap sides, so the left leg goes back, right leg swings forward, and then just move around to get into that deep stretch. Pushing the left leg back, driving the left hip forward, and take the torso as upright as you can. Open up the front of the left hip, and the outside of your right hip. And after that, we move to the right side here. Take the left leg, bring your foot behind your bum, and then just drop down to the right, open up your quad. Keeping the core tight, try not arch your lower back. You should feel a good stretch down your left quad or into the hip flexors. The more you can drop down to the forearm, the more you'll feel your quad open up. And swap sides. So right foot comes underneath your right bum cheek, and then just drop down and just move around until you feel the best stretch on your quad. You may need to pull your foot in a little bit more, see what works best for you. Good, then from there we're going to open up the left ankle, taking your left foot out to the side and just shift your weight over your left foot. Try and keep your right knee in line with the left heel. Place your hands on the floor and just rest the chest over your thigh. Now ideally you should be feeling a stretch there, but you may get a stretch on your inner thigh or your quad, sometimes this hamstring as well. If you have a weight, you can place that on your knee, and that gets a bit more deeper into the muscle. Right, swap sides. So again, lean over the right thigh, open up the ankle. The more weight you can put into the thigh, the deeper the stretch. Try and make sure you keep a good arch in your foot. Make sure the knee is either in line with your right heel or slightly in front. Right, one more stretch to go, which is each side. You're going to lay down on the floor, take your left hand out at 90 degrees and just turn away from the floor into the stretch. You should feel a nice deep stretch right here. If you don't, usually it means you just need to move your arms slightly higher, like that. The more you push away, the deeper the stretch. Alright, swap sides. You're going to squeeze your shoulder blade back as much as possible. And move around until you feel that deep stretch. And that's the end of the daily stretch routine.